Welcome back to another episode of Guided Mistakes. I'm your host, Jenna Allen. Today we have a very special guest, Amy Stark-Faust, and she is a Amazon best-selling author, as well as she goes around and she helps women find their identity. I will let you introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Yes, my name is Amy Stark-Faust, and although I am in corporate America currently working, I also have coaching business where I am kind of helping women to connect with mostly women who have been through a divorce, but also other types of issues as well. Connect and kind of find their identity if they get stuck, or if they, if they're empty nesters and they their kids are gone and they don't know what to do. So kind of get unstuck, I should call it.
Yeah, absolutely. So today I just want to dive in a little bit about your story with the divorce and what you've learned since the divorce and the process of it.
Well, it was not expected. I was married for 29 years before getting a divorce, and I lived on my own for the very first time ever because I was 19 years old when I got divorced, and when I got married, sorry. And so it was very different. I had to kind of relearn everything. I kind of had to learn how to cook for one person. I kind of had to learn to be by myself. In the middle of the pandemic where everyone was at home, everyone was kind of isolated, it was the perfect storm for me because it wasn't unusual for me to be in my apartment by myself. So I had to relearn a lot of different things. And in the midst of all of that relearning, I kind of discovered myself. I kind of dated myself, fell in love with myself, figured out what I liked, what I didn't like, because for all of those years, I focused my attention on raising my family. So it was a very different time to be in, but it turned out to be a blessing. So it was good.
So, what has been what have you learned about yourself since being on your own? And then, what else have you learned from the divorce? Have you had a moment of just identifying the difference in your life now compared to back then?
There's a lot of difference in my life compared to back then. I did learn that it was okay to be alone. I didn't know if I would like that. The sound of silence when you're used to your children, your children's friends coming over, and that sort of thing. So it was very different, but I learned to be okay being alone, and I kind of enjoyed it. I didn't used to read a whole lot, but I found myself through this process and through my healing journey, I found myself reading a lot of self-help books and just generally reading completely just by myself in my apartment, So it was good. That was good. I learned to kind of test my boundaries a little bit. I was afraid of heights. So I discovered parasailing. I did some more zip lining. I did some things to try to conquer my fear of heights. So I learned a lot about, what I really like, and sometimes what I tell people, what set my soul on fire, the things that were bubbling up in me that I didn't really know prior to getting a divorce. It kind of forced me into a situation where I had to discover myself. I had to figure out what to do. I had to learn things over again. I had to learn how to budget with one income because we lived with two incomes for my whole married life. So it was a very, very different time. But I learned so much from that, and I'm really, really grateful for that. I learned I could buy my own home by myself. I learned I could write a chapter in a book. I learned that I have a voice. I learned that I'm worthy. I learned so much from that process that I don't think I would have learned otherwise.
Well, I love it. I love women empowerment, and I love learning things about yourself. I myself, I've been single now for almost a year, right? And it's been very rewarding in a lot of ways. Learning about yourself it's honestly one of the things I've learned too, is that when you take time for yourself, you become more self-aware and you start to really know what you want in a person as well, right?
Yes.
Have you learned more about what your goals are and what you want when it comes to a partner? Have you discovered that part of yourself?
I have, and it's not just through divorce, but also through the dating situation, which is very, very different in and of itself. But through the whole dating process, I did discover just what I liked, what I didn't like, what I won't tolerate, what I do not want to accept, and then as you get older, being over 50, you also learn that none of us are perfect. You know, we all have flaws. We are not perfect. And so you start to, I won't say you accept certain things because you don't want to accept bad behavior, but you start looking at people very differently and say, okay, well, this is not really a character flaw. This is not really a bad thing. You know, it's something simple like squeezing the toothpaste from the end as an example, you know what I mean? But you learn that, you know, I'm not perfect. They're not perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. That's the other thing, is allowing yourself a little grace to make mistakes. If you go on a date, and even if you date someone for a week or two, which I had a couple of those, and you realize this is not the person for you, it's okay. It's okay to say, you know what, you're not my person. Let's just move on down the road. Yeah. So, you know, tolerance was one thing that I also learned. And then patience. I used to think I was really patient, and I think I was with my children. But in the dating world, it was like, you know, patience was something you absolutely had to have, because you'll get folks that will reach out to you just for a hookup. You'll get people that reach out to you, you know, all sorts of array of different types of people. And you learn what you're looking for. You learn as you heal also the part of you that was hurting previously acted differently. You were in survival mode, or you were in a different mode of your life than what you're in once you're healed. Because once your heart is healed and you're not hurting so much, it's just a very different outlook on everything. It's not, and I won't say you look for something completely opposite of what you were with before, but you do look for certain characteristics that are different. And I, unfortunately, the dating apps and the things like that just did not give me as much success. But that was a good thing, because when I got off of them, I met the person that I am currently dating and have been dating for a year. So,
wow, good for you! Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. I've heard of that from other people too. Is that the apps are definitely not for everyone. I feel like you have to. The apps, you really have to like have a lot of patience.
you do,
because there's so many different people out there, you know. So I totally understand that. But yeah, do you feel like are you happier where you're at now?
I'm so much happier. And I find myself, you know, it's funny how when you're in a relationship, especially if it's a relationship that maybe you're arguing, or maybe things are not, you know, they're not going how you would perceive them to be going, you tend to, in your mind, kind of pick apart that person. You kind of, oh, well, this is wrong with them, and this is wrong with them, and this is why this is happening. And, you know, once you're divorced and once you're removed from that situation and you allow yourself to kind of look inside yourself, you realize that some of those things are coming from maybe traumatic events that you've gone through as a child, or maybe things like that have caused you to have that line of thinking. So once you're actually healed, and once you're actually on a road to a better journey, a better life, it I think forces us to, we choose differently, we think differently, what we want is different. So I think I found that in myself when I was at that point.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's so empowering hearing other people's stories about like their growth, and I love growth. Like, it's hard at first, but like when you get to that place, you're so much more free, and it's amazing. So I wanted to talk about your book a little bit. So what is your book about, and what's it called?
The book is called Shine Your Light, and it's a collaborative book. It was the third book in a series. So there are 2 other books prior to that. It's a Light Beamer series led by April Pertwee. And there are 33 women total in all 3 books. I only wrote in the last one. And each woman has a story in that book. So it's kind of an opportunity for each woman to take a micro story, a moment in time of telling kind of where they came from or what they might have been through, and kind of whatever happened to them in their life, whether it's divorce, whether it's death, whether it's whatever, and then where they are on the other side of that. And I think that's more important than what it is that you went through, whether it's the death or whether it's the divorce or separation or whatever. I think the most important thing is there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and you are out on the other side. And that's the opportunity that you have to help other people. And that's kind of where it led me. It was part of my therapy all along, I think, was writing that book last year, the chapter, and having accountability partners and being able to kind of vent to someone else and being able to put your story on paper and kind of figure out, where you want to go or where you are at this point in life. So it was just a kind of a cherry on top to the therapy and the journey of healing.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so awesome. I'm actually writing a book myself, so.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Do it. Definitely do it.
It's actually called Guided by My Own Mistakes, which is where I got the inspiration for the podcast.
That is awesome. I love it. I love it. And we need to allow ourselves a little bit of grace because we aren't perfect and we are going to make mistakes. We're going to chase the wrong person. We're going to, make the wrong decision. Tonight I might have too many glasses of wine or whatever, whatever it is, we just need to allow ourselves a little bit of grace to make mistakes because it's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to embrace being human a little bit,
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
We're all human. We all know it's perfect. Absolutely.
I think we forget that. When we set these unrealistic expectations on a partner. Something that you're going to set yourself up for being disappointed because we're all going to fail. We're all flawed. And so when you put those expectations on someone else and they don't meet them, then you're disappointed. Yeah. So that's one thing that I have learned not to do is I have no expectations. Whatever comes is going to come and I feel like it's meant for me. Yeah. And if it doesn't, then that's okay too. But I've learned to definitely not put expectations on the relationship or on the partner or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I've had to learn too, because I feel like it's hard when you've been hurt, right? So it's hard because you want to have some standards, right? Right. But I totally relate to that because that was something I struggled with from a trauma response, right? But now I'm like, okay, now I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, there's a difference between standards and unrealistic expectations.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right? So it's definitely learning that, not you're not going to be happy 24/7. That's just not reality, right? So yeah, it's cool that you say that because that is definitely something that takes time to learn. And it's important to learn though too, because I know for me, there's been times where I'm like, okay, if I don't learn this, I'm definitely not going to be capable of having a healthy relationship if I don't learn that, right? So, was that something that you also struggled with in the past? Was unrealistic expectations, or was it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think there were unrealistic expectations. And then, when that person's not saying the things you think they should say or doing the things you think they should do, then you're disappointed. And then that is kind of like a cycle. You just keep going in that cycle and it's never ending. They don't meet your expectations, so you're not pleased. So then you're angry. So then you lash out, and it's just like this constant rabbit wheel. So it's good to be off of that.
Yes. Oh, I bet. Absolutely.
It's very freeing.
Oh, definitely. So for people that want to work with you, where can they find you?
So my website is my-resilient-journey.com. And there's opportunities. My calendar is out there for scheduling coaching sessions. There's a discovery session that's free. You can jump on a call with me and schedule that on there as well. And then on Facebook, I am Amy Deanne, A-M-E-Y, and D-E-A-N-N-E. So that's on Facebook and Instagram. And then I have Resilient TX because I live here in Texas on Facebook and Instagram as well. So
perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on. That was so
thank you.
And I loved everything that you said.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me, and good luck in your journey as well.
Thank you so much.